What if I fart? You might die.
Don't eat it.
We could definitely eat him. I spent about half an hour today putting together my kit. And it's just, I tried to use stuff that just normal everyday people would probably have, not outdoorsy type people, even down to the clothing that I'm wearing. I'm wearing blue jeans, tennis shoes, you know, regular everyday stuff. Everything's made out of cotton because most people don't have the wool clothing and that kind of stuff laying around that I would prefer. We have about a 90-95% chance of rain this evening, and temperatures are going to be in the high 30s, low 40s, I believe. Because I'm wearing cotton clothing, it's even so much more important not to overheat. You need to try to avoid overheating and sweating as much as possible, because cotton clothing is fine, it's durable, it's good, it's comfortable, but the problem with it is that once it gets wet, it holds that moisture and stays wet for a really long time. So it doesn't really matter what the scenario is. Cars broke down on a desolate road, been hijacked by pirates. Doesn't really matter. EMP strikes and everything goes black. Who knows? But we're simulating this by doing some light hiking, doing some off-trail bushwhacking and adventuring. All I did was rummage around the house and quickly grab the things that I thought would be useful. You don't have to spend a fortune. You don't have to go out and buy the best outdoor survival gear, whatever, for your bug out bag. All you need to do is just be resourceful. You need to be creative so you can check all of the boxes. Basically, I've got a rifle here. This is a rifle that I turned into a survival rifle, but it doesn't have to be that. I just don't really have anything less tactical or survival-y than this. But this is just a Henry lever action 22. Everybody's got some sort of 22 or something laying around the house, an old shotgun, a granddad's old deer rifle, whatever. Everybody's got something like this, and as long as you are capable of shooting it accurately, as long as it's a reliable firearm, and as long as you got ammunition for it, I think that you're going to be okay. Everybody's got some sort of backpack. A JanSport would work just fine as long as it's big enough to fit all the things that you need in it. This one just happens to be a pretty nice one that's got a waist belt as well to help take some of that load off of your shoulders, which is convenient. This is just a regular old jacket. It's cotton for the most part, some synthetics I think included in there. It's very warm, but again, it's going to be like a sponge if it does get wet, so I've got to be careful to keep it dry. Not everybody has the fancy rain gears and all that kind of stuff either. A big cotton cloth. Everybody's got sheets laying around. This cotton cloth can be used for anything and everything, from a towel after you dry off or you wash off in the creek to an improvised bandage. It could be used for all sorts of things. But this is basically a makeshift bivy bag that I've made for myself and my daughter. Hopefully both of us can squeeze in here. Open it up. I've got extra ammunition for my rifle, extra 50 rounds. I think this is 10 or 15 feet of duct tape here, Gorilla tape. 2 lighters, because 1 lighter is not enough. Make sure you have at least 2. Most people, I would say, maybe don't have multi-tools. I always keep a multi-tool in my pocket, but I would say most people probably don't. So I created a multi-tool with these 3 tools right here. I've got a screwdriver that's got different interchangeable bits, right? So for whatever I might come across out in the wilderness areas, you probably aren't gonna have a whole lot of use for this other than perhaps working on your rifle or other piece of gear like that. But in a more urban environment, who knows, you might have a use for that. Truck breaks down, car breaks down, and you need a screwdriver to tighten something up, a hose clamp or something like that. You just never know. So very, very useful to have that. Pair of pliers with some side cutters on there, cutting wires and stuff like that. Really, really useful. And then just a really inexpensive folding knife that I had laying around. I've never used this knife. It's brand new because I don't like serrated knives for the most part, but it is sharp and pokey. It will cut cordage. It will skin everything from, I mean, I could completely butcher a deer with this knife, no problem. So it will get the job done. I threw in some coffee grounds right there because who doesn't want a nice hot cup of joe in the mornings? In here is Vaseline and cotton balls. Pretty much everybody, especially women, have cotton balls laying around the house. Vaseline is something pretty common, I think. You mix the two together and you have a really, really reliable quality fire starter right there. Some toilet paper in there. I've got some Band-Aids in here, some waterproof bandages. A couple of toothbrushes. Is an anti-diarrheal if you drink some bad water. And you start to get the runs, that can shut you down really fast. So that medication is pretty important. And this is just some ibuprofen, some painkillers, anti-inflammatories. I have some cordage. Any cordage would do. I don't really have a whole lot of different types of cordage around the house. I have paracord, and this I think is about 50 feet. Charger for my phone. That's pretty important, and then a way to charge it, an external power source. And I have this. I'll show you this a little more in detail later, but this is basically a light, some sort. It's like a lantern, and it is also a USB charger, so I could charge my phone with it. Solar powered, which is super cool. So if the sun's out at all, I'll sit that out in the sun and let it be charging. I could strap this to the outside of my pack, and as I'm hiking along, it can be charging, getting juiced up for later. I've got a spare pair of socks, super important. Spare pair of wool socks. That's all I own is wool socks. I don't wear anything else really. And then inside of those socks is also something that's pretty important, especially if you're gonna be moving around at night, and that is some eye protection. I stuck it in a sock to protect them from getting them scratched up. A pair of gloves. Any kind of gloves is better than no gloves. An extra battery pack, not required, but I've got it. And then a radio. Most people, I would say, probably don't have a two-way radio such as this, like a Baofeng. But any radio, just a listening kind of radio, like a hand crank emergency type AM/FM radio would be really, really handy if you needed to get some information, see what's going on in the world. Some spare clothing. This is just a flannel type shirt, long sleeve shirt, fleece cap, just a spare t-shirt if one should get sweaty or wet for whatever reason, and then some thermal long johns. Nothing fancy, just regular stuff. I think I got these from Costco. Water bottle. Everybody's got some sort of water bottle laying around. This is just a random one that I had, not a preferred water bottle. I think it leaks a little bit, which is not ideal, but it's a lot better than nothing. Even just a recycled water bottle, store-bought water bottle would be fine. Something that you could just refill. Some peanut butter, super high in calories. Some canned foods, some canned soup. In a metal pot. A metal container of some sort is really important because I need to be able to boil my water to purify it if I don't have some sort of filtration system. And a lot of people, I would say the majority of people, don't have water filters laying around the house. If you're an outdoorsman of some sort, you probably do, but most people are probably not in that category. So just any kind of metal container that you can boil water in is going to be really, really good and useful. I've got some bread mix here that I'll show you guys how to cook in just a little bit. Paper towel, I don't know why that's in there, but it is. Some salt, a chocolate bar, and this is coconut oil. A sleeping bag. This just happens to be a military surplus sleeping bag because that's pretty much all I have other than my more higher end sleeping bags. But I feel like everybody's got some sort of sleeping bag. If not, you probably have, fleece blankets, something that's fairly light, fast drying, and easy to carry. So trash bags. These are the heavy duty 3 mil 42 gallon drum liners right here. Just a couple of them right there, and those can be used for all sorts of things, which I'll show you here in just a little while. I want to get out of the wind. We're up here on the ridge right now because it's easy walking. But it's really windy up here on top. You could probably hear it on the camera a little bit. So we're going to head down the hill towards the water, away from the wind, but not all the way to the bottom where the cold air is going to sink either. So we're going to find someplace, the happy medium in the middle, I hope. I hear flowing water. I like sleeping on this. This is called This is called ground pine. It makes a very nice mattress, just already ready to go. You can add to it, obviously, and I found it to be a little less buggy on the ground pine for some reason, a little less ticks. I feel like mosquitoes bite me a little less on the ground pine. Might be in my head. I don't know that to be a fact, but at least it seems that way in my experience. So I like sleeping on ground pine whenever I get the chance to. I've crafted a 2-person bivy bag out of some vinyl floor underlayment. It's styrofoam basically with this, what's it called? Mylar coating on one side of it. I faced that to the inside, and I think that's gonna be pretty warm if you get in there. Taped it up with some Zip Systems flashing tape that I had left over from a job. And that's big enough for me and Scarlett to climb in, and I think we're gonna be pretty cozy in that. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so warm, Scarlett. Not head first, doofus.
Yep, head first.
You can't sleep with your head in first.
Yes, I can.
What if I fart? You might die. We're gonna fill it up.
That was rotten.
Oh, score. This will protect our fire from the rain. Ah, darn it, I was hoping there'd be no lid. Oh, that works, look at that. The bottom's rusted out so we can, or side's rusted out so we can just bust that open a little bit and keep our fire in there and lay it on its side. Oh, yeah. Look at that, Scarlett. Trash bags are super useful, super cheap. For a one-man shelter, and we're gonna have to spend one night leaning up against a tree or something, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just cutting the side open and getting in it like that. And you can be completely covered with a 42-gallon bag pretty easy. But since I want to cover both of us, I mean, I guess 2 of us could sit in there huddled up next to a tree, but I want both of us to be covered up. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the bottom and open it up, and it'll be more like a tarp. We need fuel now, and we need big stuff. Go find dead standing stuff. Perfect. I'll go around. I could do a trucker's hitch, or I can just do a simple knot. I'll go around the main line, back around the tree, and then I can just half hitch it off right here with the big bundle of cordage. So I did one half hitch, and then I'll do a loop like that. and that will make it easy to untie as well. I'm gonna need some short pieces to tie off the corners of my tarp. Now you can melt the ends of your paracord, obviously, to keep it from fraying, but I would not waste the fuel that's in my lighter if I was in an actual real life situation here. So the best thing to do is just to tie a little knot in the ends of your paracord. The ground is so soft here, it's not going to be an issue. Any really stick off of the ground will be fine. Take your jam knot, double it up like so, double it over again, and then you stick your stick through there. And when you tighten that up, like so, the knot will keep it from coming undone, and then it's easy to untie when you're ready for it. Make myself another bundle of leaves, like I did on the other side of my tarp, my trash bag tarp. I'll grab one of these corners. I'll wad it up in that corner. You could tie a knot in this too. That would probably work just as fine. Since you got these tail ends, a knot would work good. But I'll do exactly that same knot. Double it over. I believe this is called a lark's head. Lark's head knot, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm always wrong with the name of knots. Somebody will let me know. Actually, that's called a slippery whiskey girth. Something or other. Always stake about 45 degrees towards your shelter. I'm basically pointing it right to the middle of my ridge line, right to the middle of my shelter. Drive it in the nice soft ground, all the way till the string touches the ground is my goal. That's my lark's head jam. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That ground pine makes a really good fluffy mattress. Let's go get some water. So our watering hole is a bit shallow. That's okay. We'll just dig it out a little bit and then we'll be able to fill our pot. Get in there.
Crawdad.
It's about the easiest crawdad I ever caught.
Don't eat it.
We could definitely eat him if we wanted to. But we don't need to. So I think we'll just let him go. There we go. Gonna take our lighter. We're gonna grab one of our cotton balls. All right, water's boiling. My friend Scarlett is having a Mountain House meal. So we're gonna pour a little bit of this in there. I'm gonna pour it into my water bottle. Warm water for our bread mix. This is my favorite bread recipe actually, and it is by far the simplest bread recipe. All you need is all-purpose flour, baking powder, some salt, and that's pretty much it. If you get creek dirt in there, that makes it taste even better. If we had a bigger bag, you could just mix it in the bag, but I'm gonna mix it in the pot, I think. Fireplace isn't drafting quite as well as I'd like. I need to poke a big hole in the roof of it or something. There's a small hole in the back, but not big enough. Mix this up with me fingers. It's a little bit dry. I think we're gonna need a little bit more water.
It'd be easier if we had a stirring machine.
Yeah, we didn't bring the mixer. Luminade. This is the first time I've used this light. This is a pretty cool little light. Solar charged, solar powered light. You can also charge your phone through USB or micro USB. And then also what's really cool about this is you pop this little plug here on the bottom. Maybe my hands are wet. There we go. Open it up like that. Put the plug back in, and you've got yourself basically a lantern. It'll probably hang right here. Look at that. Boom!
Nice.
Look at that. Flour up my hands just a little bit, using what's left in the bag so it doesn't stick to my hands as much. And then I'm going to use the bag as my table here. Sit that right there like that. While I prep the cooking oil, this is coconut oil. It lasts a long time. Problem with cooking oil is it melts at a really, what would you call it? Low temperature, I guess. So if it's in your pack or something, you know, and it's 80 degrees outside, it's going to be liquid, and that could potentially make a really big mess. So keeping it in a sealed container such as that one, probably even a better one than this, would be a really good idea. I think Nalgene makes some pretty good ones, but this is what I had at home, ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spoon out some of this coconut oil, a fairly generous amount. We're going to put this on some heat until we melt our oil, and then we'll fry some biscuits. Now we'll just pinch off a small piece, turn it into a little biscuit, like that. Did you sneeze?
Yeah.
So I turn that into a little biscuit. I'll drop it into my pot, my pan, whatever I have. Set it on the fire. Give these a flip. They should be golden brownish. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. Just take a pinch of salt, sprinkle on top of them. Oh man. And then, if we need a little extra boost, let's say we've been hiking all day long and we are exhausted, we need some replenishment. We take peanut butter, smear it on one of those babies, and you are living. Gotta have a peanut butter stick. Oh yeah. It's a solid dinner right here. Oh, you in?
Yep.
You saving any room for me?
Maybe.
This is gonna be a first.
Yep. It'll be like sleeping in a hot pocket.
Just like a hot pocket.
Yep.
Good morning, Scarlett.
Hi.
Were you warm?
Yeah.
It was incredibly cozy in our makeshift bivy bag. That was a win. Just like any bivy bags though, a little bit of condensation on the inside just from us breathing in there for the most part. But otherwise, we stayed crazy dry. Really snug, really warm. I did not realize how cold it was out this morning until I had actually gotten out. So, yeah, the bivy bag and the trash bag for the win. Hopefully you can see that you don't need a lot of money. You don't need to invest money to be more prepared. If I had this stuff in the back of my truck, in my trunk of my car, and ended up in a tight spot, this would get me out of it. Even in really inclement weather like we had last night, poured down rain last night. Really a lot of rain all night. It just let up just now, actually. Look at our dry spot, Scarlett. Perfectly dry. Take off that poofy jacket because you're going to want it off in just a little bit because we don't want to start sweating. If you start sweating, then you will get cold when you stop. It got crazy windy last night too. I was, constantly listening for trees falling. So I've been asking Scarlett on our way out if she would be interested in doing some more rugged survival challenges with me. This one wasn't too bad. We were really cozy. I slept great. Well, I didn't sleep great, but I slept good. I was really warm and snug all night. Didn't get wet at all, which is great. So I asked her if she wanted to do some more survival challenges with me. I said, what if we came out here with nothing at all? Would you want to do that? And you said you'd sneak something. What would you sneak?
I'd sneak a muffin.
She'd sneak a muffin. Of all the things that you could sneak in a survival challenge with nothing, you'd sneak a muffin. All right, where the more expensive, higher quality gear shines is it's going to be its durability, lightweight. It's going to last longer. But for the short term, I mean, a trash bag and an improvised bivy bag got us through. Is it going to last us months and months and months on the trail? Absolutely not. It eventually get holes in it and fall apart and it just wouldn't last. But for the short-term survival, there's absolutely no reason to not be prepared. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up, subscribing if you haven't done so already. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.